Well, hello, everyone. This is Ken Hardison, and welcome to another episode of Grow Your Law Firm. And today we have the honor and privilege and pleasure of having Michael Moebes, a workers' comp attorney and vet disability attorney out of Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome, Michael.
Thanks. It's great to see you again, Ken.
Yeah. And one of the reasons I wanted Michael on this show is he's in one of our masterminds at Pilma. And I was listening to him talk about how he gets referrals. And it's a little different. Well, let's just say his passion and his perseverance is unusual of anybody I've ever met in over 67 years of my life. And it's working. So he's agreed to share with us today. And I appreciate you doing that, Michael.
Thanks. Happy to.
So first, tell us your story. Tell me your journey and how you ended up being a workers' comp and veterans disability lawyer in Atlanta, Georgia.
Sure. Well, my grandfather was a Army warrant officer and fought in Korea, and my dad was an Air Force pilot in Vietnam. So I joined. I did Air Force ROTC in undergrad at University of Alabama, just like my dad had done in the '60s, and got commissioned as a medical service corps officer. I didn't have the vision to be a pilot like he was. And I actually worked for a couple of years at IBM and joined the Guard, Air National Guard, and then decided to go to law school, thinking I wanted to run a hospital. In the military, I was a medical service corps officer, and I thought, maybe get a law degree and further my education and work in that environment. And then I really liked litigation evidence. So when I graduated, got a job at an insurance defense firm that did workers' comp defense. And did that. I continued my career in the Tennessee Air Guard out of Nashville, where I grew up. And I guess I swapped in 2008. I transferred rather to Dobbins Air Reserve Base in Atlanta, since that's where I was working and had gone to school at Georgia State College of Law. So I did defense, I guess, 5 years with Drew Eckl Farnham, a firm here in midtown Atlanta, and then at Liberty Mutual for a bit. But it didn't take long before I figured out I was sort of on the wrong side of the V and wanted to change sides. But it was a matter of just, feeling like I had enough savings to quit a steady paycheck and start a contingency fee practice. And I finally did that in 2009. So actually April 6, 2009 was when I launched my firm doing workers' comp claimants work. And then I started in the VA disability maybe a few years later, I guess like 6, 7 years ago, since I'm a veteran. I guess I left out the part I got sent to Iraq in 2003, right before I finished law school. And I was one of the first people to go in March of 2003 when the war was brand new. So that was exciting. And then I went again in 2007 to the same base in Balad, just north of Baghdad.
Oh my God. Yeah. You never told that before. I've never heard you talk about that.
Oh, really? Yeah. It was an adventure.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a good adventure or a bad adventure, but I'm sure it was an adventure.
Yeah.
So tell me what's the main way you get your cases into your office?
Sure. It's primarily referrals, and it's been that way, really since day one. When I figured out I wanted to start my own firm, one thing I started doing was just writing down the names of attorneys I had cases against. If I thought the case, had gone well and had been amicable and, that sort of thing. And if it's someone I liked, and then I knew as soon as I started my own firm that I would reach out to all those people about getting some referrals from them. These were other workers' comp attorneys, but, after several months, that list was 25 or 30 names, I guess. And so that helped me from the outset. And then, of course, I got to know more personal injury lawyers, employment lawyers, divorce lawyers, anyone who works with individual people to get referrals. And then another thing I did my first year was trying cases on a contract basis. Basically, like hourly, I would go to hearings or mediations for attorneys who were maybe outside of Atlanta or just were double booked in essence and couldn't be two places at once. And that was helpful to get some money in that first year when I was waiting on contingency fee cases to pay out.
Yeah, cash flow.
Right, exactly.
Always a problem with contingency work, the cash flow.
Yeah. And so it was fun. And then over time I, developed just great referral relationships that continue, to this day. some of them, I mean, I knocked on doors when I started my firm. I would just walk down the road near where I lived and where my office was in Atlanta to introduce myself and say, I've done workers' comp defense for several years and I'm switching to the good side, seeing how the white hat fits. And people, started sending me workers' comp cases. So it worked out.
Yeah. But you just didn't stop there, did you? I mean, tell us, yeah, you just didn't stop there. Tell us what you did. Like you've actually had a system. And that's what I want to talk about. All these events you go to and different things.
Sure. Well, I call it, trying to fish in different ponds that I can fish in, but there's several things I do. And I guess a lot of them were in that article in the PILMA magazine that we did. But, I enjoy traveling. So I'll go to CLEs in different parts of the country, that with lawyers who do things that I don't, right? So like I'll go to Southern Trial Lawyers in New Orleans or wherever their conference is in the fall. This fall, it's in the Bahamas at Baha Mar, where we went for PILMA.
All right.
And develop relationships with lawyers in states that touch Georgia, but aren't here, or go to like the Auto Torts conference that Georgia Trial Lawyers does, which is all PI attorneys, but not many comp lawyers go to that and get to know people, or get active in, of course, the local trial lawyers, AAJ I'm in. So, and meeting other workers' comp lawyers in other states, that's been beneficial through WILIG, Work Injury Law and Advocacy Group, which is sort of like AAJ for workers' comp. That's been helpful, especially, again, states that touch Georgia, but really anywhere. I mean, I've had referrals from lawyers in Virginia or California or Colorado, just for whatever reason, maybe it's a trucker who gets hurt in Georgia. And so that's been helpful. And I like traveling anyway. I've been to all 50 states and almost 35 countries, I think 33 or 34 countries. So if I can go somewhere and meet other lawyers from other places who don't practice here or don't do workers' comp here, then, and I like to learn. And so, more CLEs you go to, I feel like the better lawyer you're going to become.
Yeah. And I'm just curious. And have you ever got a referral from the listserv on PILMA?
I have, yes.
Yeah.
South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, different attorneys who, this person gets hurt in Georgia.
Yeah, for y'all that don't know what I'm talking about, being a mastermind, he's part of the PILMA. We have a listserv, and what it happens to some lawyers that don't, but it sounds like you're getting a lot. But people put out a listserv, hey, I got a workers' comp case in Georgia. Who out there can handle it, or do you know anybody that can handle it? And you'll just see people popping on, oh, yeah, or I can do it, or Joe down the street can do it, or Michael Moebes, he's in the mastermind, he'll handle it. And that really, I've had lawyers tell me that really paid for their membership, the referrals they got out of it.
Sure.
So, which I thought, I didn't set it up for that, to be honest with you. I set it up for people to share about vendors or problems they were having, issues, to get recommendations on vendors and different things, before they sign a big contract. But it's turned, and that still happens as we see, but my gosh, there's so many people referring cases back and forth, which is, you never know when you put something together what it's going to end up. But, this goes to show you, and it's turned out good benefits for everybody, So I wish I could say I had the great idea that that's what it was going to be used for, but I didn't. But it's turned out good. So all's good. All's well that ends well, right?
Right.
So how do you approach these people? I mean, because some lawyers just don't know how to break the ice, Michael. Some people, I bet we're lawyers and we go try stuff and different things like that, but that's different when you're in the courtroom or you're before a judge. I don't know. How do you just talk to them out in the hallways? Do you see them at the receptions? Do you go to the bar? How do you, or do you do all that?
Yeah, a little bit of all that. For a lot of it, I guess finding common ground, of course, is part of it. So a lot of us are parents when talking about our kids. For me, I love travel and adventure. So like for my wife's birthday next month, I'm hiking in the Dolomites, but I'm bringing 2 referral sources. I've been to 3 Oktoberfests in Munich. I'm going to my 4th one next month with referral sources, PI lawyers. I run with the bulls in Pamplona with referral sources. So like,
So,
I just,
so these are other lawyers that you just do stuff with, become
yeah,
friends.
correct. Yeah. So
So,
to me, it's like, finding like-minded people, and most people, they like to do things that are adventurous or travel, but even if they don't, maybe they have children who are involved in different things and you find common ground there. Or of course in the South, sports. I went to Alabama, so I can talk college football with anyone. A lot of people don't like us, but in Georgia, obviously the Bulldogs are on top now, but different things like that. And just, and I can present a value add, of course, too. If I'm talking to people who don't do workers' comp, and I can say, look, that's all I've done for 20 years, basically. It's and I can help your clients. And if there's a third party aspect of it, bring you in as the personal injury lawyer. If it's like, slip and fall because of a third party janitor's negligence, but you get workers' comp from your employer, or you're, driving an ambulance and a truck blows through a red light and hits you. So that's helped. And then I've been able to develop a good reputation for doing a good job on the workers' comp aspect of it, and trying to, make sure they're treating regularly and get subrogation dropped and things that'll help the PI lawyer.
yeah, and that's I always preach this about, is if you're going to create these referral systems, you got to be referable. What I mean is, and I heard John Morgan say at one time, if your mother got hurt, would you hire your law firm? And if the answer is no, then you're not referable, and you need to get referable. So that's like the number one thing. So, and I missed that. I should have talked about that to begin with, but I just know that you are, because I know I've talked to you, because I did workers' comp, and I've talked to you. I know you know what you're doing, and you could have done the defense work that long and keep a job if you didn't know what you were doing. I can promise you that.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, so this kind of tells us, I think, what our listeners can learn, and our viewers, is that, you're developing relationships. It's not just asking for a referral, but you're actually doing stuff with these people, and you're finding common ground, either hobbies, children, schools they went to. You're finding something, because people tend to like to connect to people that they have something in common with. And so you discovered this a lot sooner than I did in my life. I will tell you that. But yeah, I mean, it's, I know some lawyers that go through and look at and try to become LinkedIn friends with all the people that went to their law school, and then try to send out letters to lawyers who are not doing their type of practice in their state, who went to their law school or undergraduate, and just or try to set up something. Let's meet for drinks, let's meet for dinner, let's meet for breakfast. So yeah, I mean, I just think it's smart. I mean, I guess you do some advertising, but not a lot, do you? I mean, probably most of your clients come from referrals, right?
That's true. Yeah. I did that, initially to keep overhead low. But I mean, I get a fair amount of cases from our website, just with SEO and that sort of thing. But the best cases over the last several years have been from lawyers. If someone's hurt really badly, they're going to, try to find somebody who knows an attorney and get a recommendation from a fellow attorney. So, yeah. So that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you do anything to stay in contact with these people, like text them occasionally, or send them an email or card or something? Do you do anything like that?
The referral source, I do. I try to do lunches or dinners from time to time. Like today, I had one scheduled, but the guy got COVID and he canceled on me. But I try to do that. I have a birthday in June, so at the holidays, of course, you see everybody all the time, because I don't know about when you were practicing, but I have between 15 and 20 like holiday parties I go to every December for different organizations I'm in. But since my birthday's in June, 6 months later, I tend to have a big party with a band and good barbecue in our backyard. That we have a really nice backyard for hosting parties, and invite probably 100 150 attorneys typically to that every year, and that's been good over the years. And I have Moebes Law koozies. I'll show you, like, I'll sort of sponsored by my firm, and have koozies for everybody's drinks, open bar, and bartenders with Moebes Law on them, and that kind of thing. So that's kind of fun. And and Atlanta has a lot of good live music that comes through town. And so that's something else we'll do is go to concerts at the local amphitheater, Chastain, which is just a
Yeah.
couple miles south of where we live, and take people to shows. But that's kind of a relaxed, fun thing to do. That's a little different.
Yeah, and I remember in your article for the Pilgrim magazine, you said that you do more than just write a thank you note when the case gets over with. Tell the listeners what you do, because I've never heard anybody really doing this.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I try to tell the story of the injured worker's case. So, I'll send a co-counsel fee, but also sort of say, like, we helped Miss Jones after, she herniated a disc in her back while lifting a patient at so-and-so hospital. After, we got workers' comp to pay for her L4, L5 fusion. We're able to get her a good settlement, and she's moved on with her life. That's sort of thing. Because I don't know if a lot of people remember the names or circumstances of someone's case before they refer it over. I guess, it may depend on how long they talked to them initially, or if there's a third party component. But even if they just did the intake and then kicked it over to me, I think people like to hear the story, and so I like doing that to kind of humanize the client and make it more memorable.
Yeah, and I think that lets them know that you really care about somebody they referred you to, so that's going to make them refer you more, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think so.
It wouldn't me. I'll be honest with you. I just thought that was interesting. I had never seen that. And I guess from time to time you get the opportunity to refer these lawyers, especially the local ones like domestic or criminal lawyers. You refer them cases, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely. So, and that's been fun. I mean, it's some of the biggest cases we've had over the years are there's a personal injury and a workers' comp component. And so I can loop in, someone like one guy, he slipped and fell at a Cartier store in Buckhead, had to have a 2-level fusion in his low back, and the workers' comp case settled for several $100,000, but the slip and fall was $1 million policy. So we got him the $1 million, and, through the co-counsel I brought in, and then I helped him with and comp paid for all his medical. So he actually pocketed way more of that money than he might have otherwise.
And I'm sure you negotiated that a subrogation claim too, right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. In Georgia, it's not too hard to do that, but yeah.
Really? Yeah. We used to do that in North Carolina. It's a big part of. I mean, that was a big part of it. That and making sure we got Medicare set asides when they were over $250,000 settlements. That was a big deal too. Well, it brings back memories. Yeah, we had we did PI, but we had a big. They still up in North Carolina, my old law firm. They still do they got like 4 full-time lawyers doing workers' comp, and they got like 3 or 4 do it. I think 3 doing PI and 1 doing Social Security. They don't do veterans, but yeah, it's still their biggest practice area, and they do a good job, just like you. That's great, man.
Good.
So, any advice? We're ready to close up. It's Friday for those that don't know it, and he agreed to work me in his schedule this afternoon. Any advice you like? 2 or 3 tips you can give lawyers out there that say, "Well, I really can't afford a lot of money in our market." So, give me the like 3 or 4 big tips I need to know about building these referral services with other lawyers.
Well, one, just like I was saying, tell the story of the clients you help. Try to tell your story. When I tell people, I don't know if we have time, but
yeah,
yeah, it's sort of hard to tell, but I mean, I remember the exact moment where I was when I was like, I cannot keep doing defense work. But I had a case where I was in-house with Liberty Mutual, where this woman who was a security guard, who was sort of special needs, had a 2-digit IQ, was basically sexually assaulted while she was on the job, and the insurance company denied her claim. And I was sent up to North Georgia to take her deposition, and I felt awful about myself because I felt so sorry for this lady that, the insurance company had decided that this was something she had asked for or consented to. But after taking that deposition, I got in the car and, I was driving back to Atlanta from North Georgia and called my wife. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I just felt like a bad person. So, if you have a story like that reflects, that you have a heart for the work you're going to do, and you tell that to the lawyers, I think that resonates. So,
yeah,
and it doesn't cost money to have a story.
Yep.
And then the other things is if you have defense experience like I did, then that shows, like you said, some competence and some experience. So I was able to tell people like, look, I've done this area of law several years. I just want to do it on the good side, not the bad side anymore. And so they might automatically trust you because of that, your competence. So those are a couple of things, have a little, if you have a little bit of experience and you have sort of a story to tell as to why you want to pivot and change sides. And another thing, I think if you can do hourly work to help somebody who needs overflow, you kind of can prove yourself and show that you can do a good job. And I mean, like right now, there are times when I need an attorney to help me on an hourly basis, just if I can't be two places at once, or my social attorney can't handle something, where I would like that, to have that resource available. And that's what I did my first few years, is some of that hourly work for people, kind of establish myself.
And I think also, I really like what you said about finding commonality. I think that is one of the most important things. And I don't even know if you realize it, but that is the key. I mean, people tend to be attracted to other people who have something in common with, and the more you got in common with them, the more they attract to you. And as I've always preached, people refer cases to lawyers they like, know, and trust. So
yeah,
good deal, man. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking time, and I guess next time I'll see you, we'll probably, unless you're going to Mass Torts next month.
I don't know. I have enough on my plate with
Yeah, I know.
first comp,
I know.
CLE next month.
I'll see you in Vegas at the next Film of Mastermind then.
That's right. Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And have a great weekend. Okay.
Okay.
Until next time. All right. Until next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success. Thanks.